So thank you, Oliver, for your discussion on megatrends. There's a much fuller discussion, of course, on the global megatrends and their implications. A very good summation of the research in the appendices of the Benchmarking 2030 report. So now, with those global megatrends in mind and their implications in mind in terms of their impact on businesses and government and society in general, I'll now briefly discuss with you some of the findings of the Benchmarking 2030 study. Just to remind you of the definition of benchmarking. So the feedback we had from the benchmarkers throughout the world, people that are doing benchmarking, the round tables, and from our general research was that certainly benchmarking has a future and can help in terms of reaction to those global megatrends. But the feedback was also indicating that we should not, as we tend to do, think of benchmarking only as a tool for business. But it's really a tool for a sustainable global society. It is an opportunity to use the methods and technologies that we have for benchmarking to help society in general to respond to those global megatrends. And that could be done by creating connections and exchanges of best practice, not only between organisations, but across and between countries. So the developed world has developed best practices to improve standard of living and quality of life and health systems. Why not do some benchmarking between the undeveloped world or the developing world and the developed world to help improve the quality of life in the developing world? So the response was, in terms of the Global Benchmarking Network's reaction and benchmarking in general, is that benchmarking should take a higher ground in terms of facilitating the interaction and networking between countries, between disciplines, as well as between private sector organisations, between government organisations and the private sector, and also between not-for-profit organisations, which I mentioned earlier is a growing sector because of the response required to the health issues and to the climatic change issues. So these volunteer type organisations, not-for-profit organisations, are doing most of the initial response to disasters, for instance. So we need to be benchmarking between the sectors as well, not-for-profit, private and government sectors, as well as between countries. And one other feedback, which was very prominent, was that we need to start to speak the language of our future leaders in terms of convincing them of the opportunity to use benchmarking in some way. Instead of us grey-haired people being the ones promoting benchmarking, we need the future CEOs of organisations, the future directors of government organisations, and the future heads of not-for-profit organisations speaking the language and using benchmarking. So the opportunities for the Global Benchmarking Network in this context is to ensure that benchmarking can fulfil those future roles that we just discussed. And in fulfilling those roles, benchmarking has the opportunity to enhance innovative solutions to the problems and challenges and opportunities that we face in society generally. And how might we do benchmarking? We have all of these social media available to us now. So in the report there is a discussion of the social media that's available to us and the opportunities for benchmarking in the future to utilise such technologies. And there's examples like benchmarking of best practices of ladies doing knitting in different parts of the world. So knitting garments and benchmarking of best practices. But also examples of dating websites where people who are looking for a partner can use the website for dating. So why not use that technology if you're looking for a benchmarking partner with certain attributes of best practice? So utilise that form of dating technology to find benchmarking partners throughout the globe. So there's a lot of discussion about the implications and opportunities for the use of social media in how benchmarking is done. But nevertheless, and referring back to Robin's discussion of benchmarking, whereas there is an informal benchmarking and then there is the formal benchmarking. And while informal benchmarking will continue to have a role, it is felt that we need, as a global benchmarking network, to emphasise more the opportunities from formal benchmarking. Formal benchmarking is where you actually plan your greatest priority for improvement, whether it be on a country basis or an organisational basis. And then identify benchmarking partners that you can learn from who have best practices in that improvement opportunity that you have prioritised. Then you learn and share in a two-way exchange best practices between your benchmarking partners and yourself, with a view to making recommendations and implementing change. And of course, reviewing and maintaining those improvements. So informal has a role, social media has a role to assist benchmarkers to undertake benchmarking, particularly in the context of finding who might have the best practices out there and in contacting them. And then the formal benchmarking is the actual exchange of the detailed information you need of the best practice so that you can actually adapt and implement it into your own environment. And the feedback we had was that people felt that the best way to do this is actually through face-to-face contact. So once you get to the stage of needing to understand the details of a best practice, it is best to actually visit and discuss that and see it and view it firsthand with the people who are actually operating that best practice in your benchmarking partner organisation. So in terms of delivering solutions that you can adapt and implement in your own organisation, face-to-face was felt to be the best at that stage. But the warning was, don't go face-to-face in the first instance, because you might be going to the wrong organisation. So you need to do your homework first to understand whether or not that organisation can help you and that you can help them. And that's where the social media should be able to enhance your ability to do that. There was also a call for values in terms of benchmarking. Now, the Global Benchmarking Network itself has values in the way we interact with each other. But the respondents to the roundtables in particular were saying, look, for this to happen, we need to be more open and transparent with each other. Different countries need to be more open and transparent. Different organisations, even competitors, need to be more open and transparent with the future of society in general in mind, rather than a selfish approach. So we need cooperation, transparency and selflessness. So there was a call for the Global Benchmarking Network to develop values and behaviours for benchmarkers to actually undertake benchmarking in a sustainable way. And they felt, the people who responded to this study felt that the GBN certainly has a role in helping benchmarking in the future by educating, disseminating information and best practices, promoting benchmarking, mentoring people who are undertaking benchmarking, joining people together, so helping people find benchmarking partners that they can learn and share with, and facilitating the process even. So our next steps are to finalise and publish this report. It's in its very almost final stages. But after we hear from Dr. Holger Cole and Dr. Robin Mann about their views on the future of benchmarking, we would like then your views. So we'll have a brief discussion with you, hopefully around 20 minutes or so, to discuss your views on the future of the benchmarking and also the role of the Global Benchmarking Network. The Global Benchmarking Network is actually taking the feedback so far, and this is our evolving business plan, and you can see on your left there, on my right, there's an objective, strategic objective of towards 2000, which picks up on what people were telling us was the role of the GBN in future in terms of reviewing and deploying values, reviewing the GBN role for the future, helping benchmarking to take the higher ground with the future of society in mind, and also engaging tomorrow's leaders and enhancing face-to-face benchmarking. And our colleague, our Global Benchmarking Network member from Russia, Yuri, was saying, I think benchmarking can be named as benchmarking is a tool for the humankind survival. Only that approach can push active benchmarking development in the future. And that was the context of the feedback in terms of the higher ground for benchmarking that we were hearing from other benchmarkers throughout the world as well. Thank you very much.